Welcome back to the HGC. Team Liquid currently doing it very well as they're up 2-0 over the Zealots. A little bit more controlled, seem to be a little bit more together in terms of communication. Zealots having some good moments of glory, but not able to get the wins yet.
Yeah, they can't find the engage at this point, and they have trouble finding their kills. Again, we have to put the caveat out there. They're going up against one of the top 4 teams, so it's definitely a lot rougher than the teams they've faced so far. What we need to see is improvement. What we need to see is them getting better so that once we're heading into Phase 2, Part 2, they have a chance of taking out direct competitors. But maps count. They need to try and take at least a few maps of these top 4 teams. And of course, ideally, they would at some point get to a level where they can even contest them. And we can see some improvement, but I still need to see that also when they're trying to engage. And so far, they haven't really found those kills. They haven't found those opportunities.
Well, let's go to Battleground number 3, and we'll get this map going here. Wolf Geets as we head into Game 3.
Yeah, you kind of murdered that, but I agree. Let's go. Auf geht's, nur die Harten kommen den Garten. Und die Härteren kriegen die Gärtnerin.
Danamonto.
Exactly. What was the map?
BOE for the Zealots.
Zealots picked it, yeah. One day, one sweet day, I'm gonna teach Tim some proper German.
Let's teach off gates what it means to them. They don't. There's some people that don't know.
But
what
that's something that I would never teach a native speaker because you have that.
Why?
Because you have that S sound and that. Like, look how you are struggling.
It sounds like I left
basically
taffy in my esophagus, like when I'm talking German.
You're basically killing your throat with that.
Auf geht's.
Auf geht's.
Auf geht's.
Yeah, so that's what I'm dealing with here. So we have to set the bar low.
It means let's go.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know.
There's other stuff that's easy.
Donkey is easy.
Yeah.
And Denamonto is easy. But I probably shouldn't run around saying that.
Yeah, first of all, it's Dynamuda.
Dynamuda?
That's better. Yeah, there we go.
Dynamuda?
Yeah, that's most of something that you say to the player, so you can a bit banter there.
Oh, I see, okay.
It means your mom, by the way.
Don't tell them that.
Why?
Because no one's going to say it every time they see you. The moment you show up in chat, at Calidor, Dynamonto is going to hit, and everyone's going to be Ella giggling everywhere.
It's not moto. Like this is really... I taught that to native speakers before. It's really easy to pronounce for you guys. How do you butcher that?
I butcher everything. I butcher the English language. I butcher the German language.
You're just looking for freshmen.
I butcher in Hero League. Dude, I cannot win with Butcher this Hero League season, though. Holy moly.
Fresh meat.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we need some of that. The one thing that we still have consistent as we're heading into Battlefield of Eternity is actually Tacita and Abathur being banned out there, so that didn't really change. Abathur as a first ban this time, since of course first pick and second pick are now switched over. But Zealots definitely just going into this and saying like, listen guys, Tacita is just not going to happen. Liquid is sitting at 3 wins and 1 loss with Tacita. They're doing well with it. It's a constant threat coming from them, so let's take that away. Leaves Team Liquid with the opportunity to go for Genji. They immediately do that. Interestingly enough, a Genji first pick over a Hanzo first pick on the map.
Yeah. And now that puts Zealots in a bit of a pickle. Do they move into Tracer here, or do they move into the Hanzo?
I would say you take Hanzo any day now. Yeah.
No?
I mean, you need to, of course, be careful that you can protect him.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen that before. It's not like you can't defend them. You have to be careful with the rest of your lineup, and you need to make sure that there's someone paying attention to Genji, and if he dives into the backline, starts punishing him. But I would still say Hanzo is just fantastic when it comes to the objective, so why not go for him?
See, that's what I'm worried about, though, because in game number 1, they had a similar composition that needed to protect the Phoenix. And I felt like Arcaner could just engage however he wanted. He kept getting on the Phoenix, he kept taking away her shields, or his shields, making it hard for them to win a Shrine phase. So that problem becomes compounded if you move into a Hanzo.
Yeah.
But they set up a good, strong front line here with Diablo and Blaze.
It's a really strong front line, very beefy, and also another layer of protection with Blaze in the bunker that he can use, so that helps. But it leaves Liquid open with their pick no matter what they want here, so they can go into Malfurion, they can add Deckard Cain if they really would want to. They can also think a bit about, okay, what are we going to ban? Because they can really just, I don't want to say choke out something, but they could, for example, go into Hanzo themselves if they want to play both the Shimada brothers, then ban out Greymane against Quacknix, just... Or even Liming, just limit options of poke and immortal race potential for Zealots. So they can now decide if they want to play the teamfight game, or if they want to now, with the composition, even though they drafted Genji early, also give some wave clear and some immortal clear to their setup.
I like the Shimada Bros, and they come out.
There we go.
So Hanzo and Genji, full ninja with the Urel mixed in, so we got the Goat Lady too. And I'm actually kind of curious about maybe a Phoenix ban for Team Liquid, even with a Diablo and Blaze instead. I know you were talking about Li Ming, which I think is a great option too. What?
I just noted down goat instead of URL because you were calling her the goat lady again.
I'm going to start writing down goat facts for every time that URL gets picked. She gets picked so often, and I feel like we need new stuff to talk about because she jumps on people and kills them. That's all we got to say, right? So we should get some goat facts in here. Teach the people at home.
Yeah.
I don't know any goat facts offhand, so we'll to be continued on the goat facts. I know there's a coffee made by goats, but that's about it. I don't think it's a goat fact. I think it's a coffee fact.
I have New Zealand stories about sheep, but goats is something that I can't really help you with.
Yeah, I know. It's an animal that's kind of boring when you think about it. Sorry.
How dare you?
I know if you're a goat enthusiast, I apologize. I'm not. I know there are some things that you shouldn't say in life. I'm not really sure what the goat stock market is like right now, so if it's low or if it's positive, I'm sorry. I apologize.
A goat enthusiast.
Dude, some people, man. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to live life, you know?
You would think that Greymane, who got banned out by Team Liquid, would be a goat enthusiast.
Yeah.
That's
for a different reason. He's going for that protein. He's getting the gains off of URL. All right, Li Ming and Malfurion come in for the 3rd and 5th pickup, so that poke you were talking about is now available. What are you smiling about? You all right, buddy?
I just like you went for that immediately. It took you 1.5 seconds to really get it.
That wavelength.
And then you went full in.
Mm-hmm.
Li Ming, so we talked about Greymane being banned out, or maybe even Li Ming, and that's exactly what Team Liquid did. And now we're having Li Ming claimed. I mean, you need to still have some poke against the Immortal. Malfurion with it. If he goes even Tranquility, I mean, you can really sustain all of this pretty easily. Last pick is still a bit of a question mark, but Team Liquid is basically doing what we talked about. With the Diablo and Blaze as the early rotation picks, Team Liquid was in a position where they could pick Hanzo, ban Greymane, and then only leave one hero that really stands out on the map for a poke. It's usually those 3, Greymane, Hanzo, Li Ming, that we talk about when it comes to Immortal pressure.
What do you pick here for your 5th pick? Right now, Zealots have full control, which is helpful around the Immortal phase, but if there's ever a race, Team Liquid takes it handedly.
Yeah, with another setup, I would say you could maybe go into Lunara, but I really don't think that that would be a great option here with the setup that they're going up against. So I'm also wondering a bit. I mean, we haven't really seen too much Junkrat anymore. The Phoenix is still available, so could be him. You have Diablo already, so I think that's at least one of the heroes that they're talking about right now.
I kind of actually like Lenora that you mentioned it. Oh, okay, off into Phoenix.
You like Lunara?
I actually like it a little bit, just because of Malfurion and Blaze. I feel like they control that front line so well. Diablo 2 can handle Quack, or not Quack, Genji at any point. I don't know if I can book a little bit, but they're going to go with the teleport, the ability to get away with the Phoenix. A little bit safer, obviously, with mobility.
I think if you get Lunara in here, then the only thing that the other side asks is, do you want your DM medium or rare?
That aggressive, huh?
Yeah.
Dang, we are just killing heroes left and right now.
I mean, you jump in with Genji, you have Karazim, you have Muradin, and the only support that you see is Malfurion with a heal over time. So there's very...
What, you got a bunker? You're like, hey, hop in this mofo, this dude, and then you drop down some fire here and there. I've been streaming too much lately. I apologize. I'm going to stop talking. Go ahead. Lenora would not win here.
Look at the bright side. You didn't start talking about naked chromies again, so at least
yeah,
it's a bit
fantastic.
Of
Let's bring that back. Can we go into game 3 now? Can we start this? Because now I'm embarrassed. My face is turning red. I can feel it. It's hot up in here. Right up in here.
Why are you looking like a tomato right now?
I am embarrassed. I just dropped that. I just said it on a live broadcast. Yikes.
Yikes? Is
Yahtzee.
What's Yahtzee?
The new thing. It's new.
Please no.
You're going to be saying it soon. Don't worry.
Coming back to the draft and to the actual topic, I just think that you can't keep a Lunara alive. So I like Phoenix more. You have at least a bit of an escape, because I don't think that bunker is enough. It's just, I mean, the cooldown increase makes it really difficult to deal with that.
Those 10 seconds, just...
You're just trying to get into the game. Okay, I understand.
Possible.
There you go.
Game 3, here we go. Team Liquid versus the Zealots. Here on the left side in the blue, Hostile playing Hanzo, Arcaner on Genji, Sport Billy on Muradin, Ethernal on Urel, and Nurok to play Karazim.
Down 0-2 in the series. Battlefield of Eternity as the 3rd map. Shat this time. Again on the support, but Malfurion. Quacknix is on Li Ming. We see Chris on Phoenix. Pretty much a combo that they played for quite a bit already. And Robadoba on Diablo as Zarmany has taken over Blaze. So very beefy front line here for the Zealots. But again, that combo with Phoenix and Li Ming. So we're going to try and see on the side of the Zealots to maybe play around Lightning Breath, and also Phoenix with his salvo, trying to capitalize on the slows here. Li Ming with the poke potential. Definitely something that can hurt a lot, but a very aggressive setup on the opponent's side when Nuro can now jump in with Kerosene. Urel can do the same, Sportbili, Arcana. I mean, nearly every single one of these heroes has some kind of gap closer that they can use to jump on either of the squishies on the Zealot side. So the main question is, at least for me right now, can the Zealots keep their backlines alive?
We'll see if they can do that. So far, we did see Li Ming and Malfear on the bottom right, waiting for Genji to come over and snipe that well, which has actually been a bit of a aggressive change lately from Genji players on this battleground. If you kill that well in the middle, you make sure you take away their tap, which makes it harder on the second phase. So Zealots make sure to protect that. But so far, Zealots playing a little bit on the aggressive side here, working on their souls here for Robodoba and poking where they can.
Yeah, heavy pressure here at the bot lane as is. I mean, to the top, I don't think there's really too much going to happen in the matchup between Urel and Blaze. Both of them have the sustain that they need to try and push it out. Urel actually already working on the camp now by herself. It's just so difficult to push her away from that spot at any point.
And it is. She is just incredible controlling 1v1s. Remember last week where we saw Wubby 2v1 and take that point, being able to come with those body blocks.
Also, look over towards Muradin here. Now again, we're seeing that third wind coming out as they are trying to play around that. And it's really just such a great tool if you have a big poke battle happening, as you oftentimes do in Battlefield of Eternity. When we actually see Perfect Storm taken here, then I really like Sledgehammer, at least as a consideration too, because your entire process of shift, like your entire playstyle as Muradin oftentimes starts to shift a little bit when you try to go into the idea. You're trying to just really burn down the Punisher, sorry, the Immortal more so than you're attempting to take quick team fights here. Sportbili in this case now, with Third Wind, has now the option to move in and out of fights consistently, and that's really important once that the Immortals spawn and you're trying to go for that poke battle, where especially Li Ming can poke from a distance and you have Hanzo on the other side, so that will sustain Muradin a lot more during these battles.
Yeah, you can just straight up eat those shots. Right now we have the Mercants being grabbed. Usually you want to grab those around 220, 225. Capture that, and then of course get those sent out right when the Immortals spawn, and there they are. Be up in about 25 seconds. We're actually having a little bit of a tussle here on the top where Blaze and Urel continues to fight back and forth, and it's just funny because Blaze will heal that up, Urel will heal that up. No one will ever get a full advantage in that lane. Meanwhile, bottom lane, we have a double Merc camp being grabbed for Team Liquid. They're grabbing the camp to the left and also grabbing the Impalers themselves.
That's a really nice setup that they have here. I'm actually enjoying that a lot, and that definitely forces the Zealots down. So this should be a moment where Team Liquid is going to take the lead at the Immortal. They should be easily able to move in for this and try and burst it down a bit, because there's no way that Liquid doesn't react to what's happening here. Zealots, sorry.
Helping out with the push here. Working on Zarmany. It's a little bit of poke between these two. Robodoba going to do his best here to soak the shots. Of course, regen where needed when Shaq moves forward. Muradin trying to get a little bit of room here so Hasselhoff can bounce those shots off the wall, and he does so. Gets a little bit of damage in. It's nice and slow and steady between these two.
Yeah, it was really well done by Robodoba and Shat here. The combo straight into the roots, and then of course Li Ming can always follow that up with damage. And it's the Zealots that have lost a bit on their Immortal, but not too much. And Zarmany, in the meantime, has taken down the bot lane pressure through those two camps, so that works. Also, for Vision, we have Air Ally actually taken now for Kerosene. So it's another slight adjustment that we are seeing.
We've been getting more of that lately. The 2 charges for it.
Yeah.
Been helpful for Vision, but also for escaping.
Exactly. 2 charges allow you to be a bit more mobile. You have more vision on the map. Zarmany escaping here, good job by him. But I'm actually impressed that so far it's still fairly even. I mean, Zealots had a huge push to deal with, and they did that in really nice fashion, while Team Liquid reacted to the camp at the top. So now Billy again stepping forward aggressively. They go for Diablo, Robodoba with a good push here towards the side. Eternal needs to be careful here. But again, Liquid with one shot after another on Hanzo's side, making sure that they start to take a more even lead in the Immortal race.
It's poor Billy continuing to eat those orbs to make sure Hasu doesn't get hit. Third win will allow for him to heal it up. Zell's trying to get a little bit of race here, realizing, okay, we're going to fall behind in the halftime show. And with Hanzo and Genji backing up, they actually do get a pretty nice rotation here. That was a clever call from them.
Yeah, it was a really good one. They just need to make sure that they're keeping Robodoba alive, and they did that. But that nearly won them the halftime show. They lost out, but still, it's fairly close here. And now we have defensive positions taken. Robodoba is trying to protect it a bit longer. The rest of the team actually moves into that protective spot. They're trying to go for Muradin here. Billy needs to be careful. He gets rooted into the ground, and that should be the demise of him. The dwarf is dead. When Zarmany was attempting to follow it up against Arcana. That didn't quite work out, but now they can go for their own Immortal. Protect that. Try to maybe even get a second kill. Arcana low. but is still able to move away.
Able to get away, and meanwhile, Nurok and Hanzo have been doing damage to the Immortal. Li Ming couldn't keep up, and Team Liquid actually took a lead on the Immortal race. Smart little play from Nurok and Hanzo, while Arcaner took a little bit of space in the top left corner. And that gives time for Murden to come back.
Yeah, they need to eat. Robadoba needs to eat a few of these combos right now. Nurok is going in deep. They're trying to win that, and they actually get it. It's a close call, but the power of Hanzo in particular really helps them to take this. It's a good grab by Liquid. Zealots were the only kill in the game, though, making that work against Muradin. But this is the moment when Liquid is going to attempt to snowball that to level 10. I'm not going to get that quite out of the Immortal yet, but if they can take a level lead here, that would already be a huge step towards that goal.
No, they're trying to slip push here. Now they'll run to the bottom and go ahead and work on the turrets, not giving Li Ming a chance to go for resets. Let's try and get the upper hand in a different route. Arcaner buying time against 4 here at the top right corner. Even stopping Chris a little bit, turning around and trade a little bit, has that Swift Strike available, so that turret will fall. This fort, however, needs to be defended by the Zealots, so they rotate down.
Yeah, the rotation is going to the bot lane now. And Liquid is attempting to rotate top. But still, this really didn't accomplish too much. If you look at experience, Liquid is not too far ahead. They broke through the wall top and they put a bit of damage onto the fort itself, but it's not really anything meaningful, nothing to write home about yet. So Zealots in a pretty decent spot. I'm actually liking the way that they defended. Liquid was hoping for a lot more out of that rotation.
But they do open double forts, which would be good for the second Immortal phase. This just puts a little bit more incentive for Zealots to win the next Immortal phase, right? Knowing that both their forts are bare and able to get picked off. Wow, Team Liquid even getting a little bit aggressive. Eternal's going to jump over the wall. Support really buys them a little bit of time.
I mean, you're definitely right. You open up both of the forts. The problem is that now that we have the experience redistributed away from the towers at the front, you don't get as much of an experience lead out of sniping the towers as you would hope for. And ideally, Team Liquid would have walked away with a lead in experience here so that they can grab an earlier level 10. That doesn't necessarily give them an opportunity to win the halftime show once the next Immortal spawns, but it should give them a small timing window where they might be able to jump behind a fort, take down a hero or two. That's always what you're trying to accomplish with it. And with them only opening up the walls, they're not even ahead in experience. The Zealots are actually in a spot where they are even slightly ahead. So from the Zealots' perspective, this is still really solid.
That it is. And they have a chance to grab their own turrets. There's one on the top left for them to snipe. Genji and Urel doing their best to prevent that from happening. Merc camp ready to be grabbed for our team. The Team Liquid waits for the last second to grab it so they can have that bottom lane pushing into siege on that fort that they did expose earlier. Zealots on the top right, though, start theirs, and there's a chance Team Liquid can engage. They're thinking about it. Kerosene coming over to drop down that air line. Decides not to.
Yeah, Robadoba is zoning that out. He's making sure that there's no one coming in that they don't know about. Now both of the teams are on level 10, just at the right moment in time. So we are going to see these fights with Bunker being an option. And this is going to be where it becomes interesting, because this is a fight that Zealots really want to win. Sport Billy already has to pop Avatar really early. That might even not be enough. Robadoba comes in from the side, gets the stun off, and that's the kill against Muradin. Billy actually getting wrecked here. But the halftime show might still be won by Team Liquid since they're so far ahead as is, but it opens up 10 seconds where the Zealots can now put on the pressure.
They're waiting for Zealots to show that they are putting damage to their Immortal, and once they do, Hasselhoff can step over and drop in that scatter arrow and finally get that clear to the halftime show.
Bot lane also has to be defended. That's actually where we saw Blaze.
Nurok able to escape. Oof, getting close. Robadoba wants to chase it down. Eternal, however, ready to hop on in, and with Muradin back. Zealots have to be aware of that.
The biggest problem for the Zealots is that they just can't match the Immortal race potential that we see from Team Liquid. Hanzo alone, but especially with the help of Kerosene, is doing so much here. And even when Zealots get these kills, Liquid is always ahead in the Immortal. And that's one of the things that the Zealots have a rough time to compensate for. So they're trying to find opportunities to turn that around, but it's really difficult. Li Ming just doesn't have... She's so reliant on her cooldowns that she doesn't have that race potential that Hanzo has. So as long as Hanzo is alive, Zealots are still at risk of losing an Immortal, even if they have a numeric advantage on the map. And it's rough to go just to get around that fact.
And the worst part, too, is you see Zealots constantly tanking those shots to make sure they don't get on the Immortal, but now they're getting low. Shad's having a hard time keeping everyone alive. And you get to a point where there's a breaking point, right? Where Team Liquid just force the engage and move in.
Yeah.
Zerami actually trying to do that now before they get that point.
We saw that earlier where they just engaged into it. Robadoba eats the 7-sided. Should still be fine. Gets the bunker. Okay. We see Shad engaged upon after Hanzo hits the arrow. But Liquid does the same thing again. They simply focus on the objective. They start to move in here. Billy barely jumping out. Oh, Nurok. Look for a second as if we would get stun locked in that stun circle. That didn't happen. But again, Zealots have to be defensive. Can't engage. And Liquid is simply poking from a distance.
Quack was really looking for that reset. They decided to back up. Okay, they know they're going to lose this Immortal. Put some damage on theirs. And they'll be dealing with the second Immortal of the game that goes over to Team Liquid. This is pushing in the top. Now that Night Cam in the bottom actually didn't get too much on that fort, so that's nice and healthy.
It's really frustrating for the Zealots at this point. They get their kills, they got it through in the first Immortal race, they got it throughout the second, but they lose out on the objective because there's just not enough damage against Immortals. And that's again the power of Hanzo. And we come back to the draft. The early rotation for the Zealots was Diablo and Blaze, and I would much more have enjoyed them heading into Diablo and Hanzo instead and not give it up.
Gotta agree with you. And we are seeing why. Sportbilly goes in, goes for the Stormbolt. Blaze will be able to drop down the bunker. Salvo comes out. Eternal takes a shot. So does Arcaner, but he puts a deflect. Here comes Zero afterwards. Robodoba takes some damage. Army in the front. Gets completely killed as Arcaner has Swift Strike available once again. Gonna go for the X-Strike. Goes in for the attack. Robodoba trying to retreat, and he might be able to get out.
They might get the counter kill here even. And
Whoa!
they do! Urel falls. Great kill. It was really unfortunate for Zarmany that he didn't hit a single hero as he was attempting to get a stun with the jet propulsion. He just barreled through everyone and hit nobody, and that found himself in a spot where he was just surrounded by 5 heroes and got taken out immediately. So Zealots with a counter kill keep their keep alive, and there's not too much snowball happening. They're still in experience range. Half a level behind. Will hit level 13 in time. Good move here again by Robodoba. Nice zoning. I really like the way that he's currently making these plays with Diablo. But the problem is still going to be the same for the next Immortal. What Zealots need to do is they need to win a more decisive fight where they kill more than only the tank, or where they at least take down Hanzo so that they can put in the damage.
Team Liquid moving in with that level 13. Murden, however, being thrown in the fort and being stun-locked here is going to take a lot of damage. Sportbilly cannot stay alive as he gets cleaned up with no avatar for 20 seconds. He couldn't pop that. And Zealots are able to stop the fight, get 13 themselves, and they're definitely still in the game.
Robodoba is bullying Billy around in this game. Murden is looking extremely uncomfortable here a lot of times, where he just gets pushed into a wall. He has a tough time to just jumping away from this, because every time he attempts to do that, Robodoba puts him back into a bad spot. And I mean, the one thing that really goes for the Zealots is that the death timers are now, of course, increasing. If they can get the kill here, and they do. Nice Twilight Dream by Malfurion. Kerosene is down. They save Shadi. Ice blocks, but Arcana comes in from the side. Can he get the kill, though? The bunker is there. Saves him for now. The 5 versus 4. Shad might fall, but they get the kill against Genji.
They get the kills. Zealots, however, continue to move forward. Only tanks here left with Hasawabs. Thurno and Sportbilly need to retreat. At least they're able to pick off Shab with the Immortal spawning in about a couple of seconds here.
But this is actually something that I start to like. Zealots have trouble when it comes to controlling the Immortal, and we've highlighted that several times now. But when it comes to kills, they get them. They actually find the kills here. We have 6 kills against 2. And I really like it, because I criticized in Game 1 and Game 2 that they don't have the engage potential. They had huge problems engaging and also finding the synergy with the engage, like following up stun after stun and following any kind of CC chain up with good damage. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. They see opportunities, they take them, and coordination, even if they get flanked, is much better than it was in previous games. So I'm actually liking that. But they are not by any means ahead at this point. They're still behind in structures, and it's still a 5 versus 5, but they could make that kill happen, and they do, as Urel falls again.
Thurno going way too aggressive, trying to buy a little bit of space there. As we have the front line taking some damage from the Zealots. Team Liquid trying to clear them up, but Urel not able to move forward with no order to defend her, no way to protect her. Team Liquid loses Urel once again.
Really nice play from the Zealots. They still have the problem around the Immortal. Again, we talked about it in the draft. They had the opportunity to go for an earlier Hanzo, but they sacrificed it because they wanted to have Blaze. They were afraid that Blaze gets banned against them or taken away. So they prioritized Blaze over Hanzo, and they paid the price in the early game for that pick. But at this point, they're starting to come back into it, simply because the death timers are increasing. So the kills that the Zealots get are more meaningful.
Team Liquid has 5. They'll set up for defense, wait for all 5 to be here. Zealots, once again, step forward, setting up for control. They need to find one more sniper. If they can get one more, they can definitely take this Immortal phase and go to open the map. Look at that. They're even jumping up an experience here, 15 and a quarter. With an Immortal, they can get 16.
But also, talking about the map, we have Genji pushing out the bot lane all the time here, and with the Swift Strike, he's able to easily make it back into that fight. So Zealots still have to be cautious. Chris, bit low here. You have all the heroics up again, so if they can get the good engage through a Robot Over, maybe Zomni with a flank, that's all that the Zealots need for now. In an ideal world, they would also rotate someone top to catch the experience and maybe head level 16, but it's the engage that happens first.
Avatar pops out too. 7-sided strike, some damage on Zarmony, but he backs up. No major heroics used for the Zealots, not even Bunker.
And actually, Nuruk was really early with the 7-sided here. Now, the cooldown is not the biggest, so he has a chance of having that up again for that fight at some point. But for now, the Zealots are in a bit of a better position. And they still could get level 16. I mean, it's tickle experience that comes in for both teams now. But if they have the chance to rotate someone top and just catch 1 or 2 waves, that would be enough. But they're going for the Immortal again, and they're so far ahead that this time Liquid has to play defense.
Waiting for the Bunker. Eternal goes in, knocks back Robodoba. Zarmony taking some damage, but able to jet propulsion out, dropping the oil behind him too to slow down his opponents. Nurok finally gets engaged upon with the Shadow Charge into a knockup. Nurok trying to dash away, Lightning Breath connects. Nurok's low on health, but able to survive. But Zealots are healthy. They step up, they look at the Mortal, and they should be able to get it.
Yeah, this time they can step up because they did so much damage to especially Nurok. And they take it, but I really want to highlight something on the Liquid side. The Stormbolt missed, but the thing is, immediately as the Stormbolt is already flying, Nurok engages on the same target, and we have Hanzo's arrow being thrown out. So that was actually a potential kill. And the Zealots were able to sidestep that because the Stormbolt didn't connect, so that was really well played on the Zealots' part. But it shows exactly what we've been talking about when we talked about good and well-coordinated engages. So that's something that Liquid is constantly trying to pull off here. It didn't work in this specific case, but this is how you create these kill opportunities. And that's something that the Zealots are now trying to do more on their part. They have the Immortal, so they need to make sure that this one counts. And in an ideal world, this is a keep here.
They're looking confident too as they keep moving up. Robodoba leading that charge.
They have Bunker still up, so they have all reason to be confident here.
That they do. 10 more seconds for the Salvo combo with the Lightning Breath as well. The Immortal shields are still up. All of Team Liquid's trying to clear that up, so it goes into melee form, make it a little bit easier to clear up. Arcaner goes in, puts some damage on that back line. Chris able to sidestep most of that though. The Lightning Breath connects, hits Nurok on the back right, but no major combo yet from the Zealots. But they do find an Eternal on the back line who has Ardent Defender this time.
Yeah, the keep on the other hand is falling, and I'm actually not too happy with Diablo using the Lightning Breath this early. If he waits 2 more seconds, then Phoenix has his own ult ready, but it doesn't matter too much. Didn't backfire against them. The keep is down. That's all that they wanted to accomplish here. But we have a level lead at this point for the Zealots. 7 kills against 2, and they are definitely bringing the fight in game number 3 against Team Liquid. Zealots looking better than ever in this phase.
Pierce has come online for Hanzo, so things should become a little bit easier around that Immortal phase for poking, especially whenever the defense is set up for the Zealots.
Yeah, because so far it was really difficult for Hanzo.
Yeah, that's true. That's the worst part, is it gets worse as the game goes on. Once he hits 7, you're like, oof, it is a Hanzo show, team. Pierce comes online at 16, making it much more easier for him to poke, so Team Liquid will be looking towards that area to be able to grab the next Immortal phase. But with the pressure from the Zealots in the top lane, the Zealots are well equipped here to play that control game they've been playing for so long.
Yeah, right now you have the top lane pushing heavily for you, and this is actually a big asset for the Zealots, where they can play for time a bit more than before. It's unlikely that we're going to talk about Storm Talents for the next Immortal, but as long as they are now roaming and trying to find these kills, that would already be great. I mean, at this point, they're actually trying to invade the camp. They could make that play. But there was a flank set up by Eternal, so that was a bit of a bait that Liquid was attempting to set up here. But the fight is still starting, and here's the entire combo on Robodoba. But again, the bunker is out. Diablo survives, at least for now. The combo comes out as the salvo is in. Immortal spawning in 30. If one team gets a kill right now, that would be fantastic. And Eternal is actually falling here.
He's going so aggressive. Arcaner comes in, but with the Ice Block popping out, Shadow is not going to fall. Sportbilly comes in with a Stormbolt. Eternal is really testing the limits of Yrel, and Zealots are just punishing him.
This is really when you want to take a deep breath, you take a camp at the top lane, and then you go for the Immortal right away. So go for the camp as 5, burst that down. There's only 3 seconds left. The rest of the team is a bit late on the rotation, actually. They're not making that snap call, so now they don't have the time anymore to go for the camp. Chris actually gets stunned by the Immortal here, eats the entire arrows from Hazorps. And they're trying to move in. They need to step up now. It's a 5 versus 4. You need to take something out of it. They're trying to look for the second kill. Genji is nearly down, and they can now go for Nurok. Genji is fallen, and Nurok is dying too. Zealots are in a prime position now.
That they are. Moving over, working on the Immortal. Quack even getting aggressive on the bottom left, looking for any stragglers that he might be able to pick off. Zealots take their first substantial lead, moving to the halftime show here for the Immortal, and they can clear up too. There's still 30 seconds before Karazima's on the field or Genji. Team Liquid is hurting, and Zealots are starting to really excel.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where you're starting to go so far ahead that you all of a sudden have a chance to end the game here. If the Zealots are able to take this Immortal without losing too many hit points on their own and walk in there with an 80% shield, that would be the dream. But of course, we still have Hanzo alive, and he is going to throw a wrench into those plans.
Putting it down to at least half health.
Jesus, that's disgusting.
Very quickly there. 21,000 shields will be up for Zealots. This will be pushing in the bottom lane.
It's like Hanzo's good on this map or something.
He's a pick.
I mean, again, we come back to the early rotation in the draft. This Diablo and Blaze composition is really working out for Zealots. The question is simply, did you have to prioritize Blaze this heavily? You can always make an argument for it. Blaze could have been picked away by Team Liquid, or it could have been banned out, but Blaze has not really been a priority lately. And as Urel wasn't picked yet either, there's a chance that Zealots could have gotten a little bit greedy there and get away with it. Nice attempt by Liquid to turn that around, fighting behind the Immortal. The bunker is there, and it really provides so much value. That's the reason for that high pick here. Quacknick's alive for very long during that fight. Billy wants to get that kill coordinated there. Maybe getting a kill against Eternal, not quite. 5 versus 4, Eternal on the run. He should fall here eventually, especially with Roba looking to flank him now.
Divine Steed, he tries to get out. He'll have a jump up in a couple of seconds. Going for the knockback to keep him away. Ooh, but a little bit too late. Zealots get the kill. But the Immortal on the keep, the shield have been dealt with, and Team Liquid is trying to burn it down. They may actually stay in here if they can watch out for Roba if an engage doesn't hit on top of Hanzo.
There's a 20 on the other hand.
That's
the
true.
problem. Storm Talents are ready. There's a chance for another kill, and if that happens, then Liquid is just in a bad spot. But that Immortal is still going to do a bit of damage. Here comes the attack against Sport Billy. He's able to move out. Zealots looking for the kill, looking for the finish.
Going for the Immortal Force, trying to clear it up. Zarmi taking that shot here. Back left, Nurok takes some damage. Seven Sider comes out, will hit multiple members. He dashes to his teammate.
Really well played here by them, making sure that they just separate the damage on several heroes, and now they are working on the core. Li Ming not there. Quacknick's directing what they're doing, and they're actually opting for the retreat here. Arrow comes out and he hits 3. Phoenix is about to fall. Unconquered Spirit procs, and they're trying to make sure that Chris survives here. Roba creating some space for the team. Arcana seeing if he maybe can jump back into that backline, but so far it's not happening, and here comes the Salvo and the Lightning Breath combo.
Arcana deflects most of it though, goes for the X-Strike 2, trying to stay alive here. Sport Billy goes with the Stormbolt, will hit both the tanks. Arcana
Quack is back.
Is low, deflect comes out. Quack is back, as you mentioned. Arcana gets reset on, there's 2 resets. A third might be coming off for Hanzo in the back left. He takes the damage, gets knocked away. Quack is able to find one more reset. He goes for another, and they get the kill. Zealots are able to push forward and take this core as they wipe 4.
Zealots absolutely wrecked Liquid in that last engagement. It was Quackness that came back in, and then he goes in with a wave of force and immediately sets up the first kill here, gets the resets, follows it up with 2 more, and that is game as the Zealots take a map of Team Liquid.
Really solid control there, especially towards that mid game. First finding a couple of kills. The staggering from Team Liquid really started to hurt them, especially in that bottom left fort. We had the Zealots come around the backside and find another pick, keeping that staggering constantly moving forward. And from there, they just knew how to control and, of course, keep their opponents on the back end. I will say, I feel like Eternal was getting a little bit too aggressive on Urel in that back line. Zealots able to really collapse on her and take her out.
It's just that the entire game plan didn't quite work out for them, and especially when we're looking towards Sport Billy, he had so many problems staying alive here since Zealots were aggressively punishing them. It was a really interesting game because you could see in the early game specifically how much of a problem it was for Zealots to get the Immortal, especially with the death timers that low.
Yeah.
The kills that you got didn't really matter. The kills were against the front line, and the only thing that happened after a kill was Liquid fell back, poked from a distance, Murding comes back and they can engage again. But then towards the later stages, when the death timers are higher, every kill really counts.
Sure.
And yes, you give Hanzo up, but I mean, they played really well around Blaze and that bunker. That's one of the things that really stood out here for Zealots. Every time that they were trying to set something up around the 7-sided strike against Diablo, Blaze was ready. Blaze had the bunker there, they saved the targets. It was also useful several times when Furin was in trouble and they could use that. So I really liked the way that they coordinated around it, and also that engage at the end. You go for core, you get the damage in, Quack makes the call, boys, fall back now. We got the damage on, we didn't get a kill. Fall back for now. If they chase you, I'm nearly there. We can make that play. And you could see how Liquid engaged in, but they didn't really know where Quacknix was on Li Ming.
Yeah.
And then he sets up the wave of force, gets the combo off, and that just starts a snowball chain
Chain
towards
reaction.
the goal. Yeah, it was really well done.
It feels like this new Zealots, when it comes to disciplined team compositions, they're actually a little bit stronger in terms of control, slowing down the tempo. When they go for these blow-up comps that require that cursed bullet follow-up, they're not finding the mark there in that regard. So maybe you focus a little bit more on trying to control the fight. Maybe some more materials coming out. Blaze, once again, being a main factor for them, could be something that really they excel at, because it was pretty much showcased there on BOE.
I feel it's also a bit of a question of what Robert Ober plays, because his Muradin is nothing where I was too impressed. I mean, he's not embarrassing himself on Muradin like too much or anything, but if you compare, let's say, his Garrosh play and also the play of Diablo on the last map, it's just much better. He has also now more support, or had more support through Blaze that helped him out when he was fouled in the 7-sided or any kind of damage combo was trying to hit him.
Yeah.
So there was always a layer that could help him out. But I really like the opportunities that he creates around Garrosh and Diablo a lot more than the way that he plays with Muradin. Because oftentimes you see him try to make, on map 2, but also last week, he jumps in, tries to look for the Stormbolt, and either he goes too deep and the opponent, like his team isn't there yet to follow it up, or he misses that Stormbolt, and then all of a sudden you have your escape on cooldown. You don't have a Stormbolt, and you are in a really awkward spot here, especially when he plays around Muradin style that is not as sustainable. So I really like that. The tanks that he played here now, I like that a lot more for him. So I would like to see that in the draft also reflected for the upcoming games.
Well, speaking of other players for us to compare, we actually have Arcaner and Chris, who both are playing the damage role for our teams. Arcaner coming in here with Team Liquid and starting to fill in the role pretty well, and he is looking pretty darn strong. Looking at that key AD, or the key AD, 9.33 to 5.60.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy. Of course, I mean, Team Liquid has been doing extremely well so far this season, whereas Zealots has been struggling, but that's definitely also in huge parts because of how much of an impact Arcana has. You could hear at the beginning of the match how Quacknix talked about it and how he said that he feels Arcana is really shining in that damage role. And we've highlighted that previously. Arcana was never really an offlaner or a tank, so he played these roles because his team needed him to be in that role. And he said, I'm going to do my best to be the best player that I can be in these roles.
Yeah.
But originally, he came from the damage position, and that's something that he feels much more at home, and it really shows too. Especially on the first map, he created some fantastic opportunities for his team to get kills and secured the kills with Genji. He always put the pressure onto the backline, made it very, very difficult for Chris in particular in that fight to engage. So you can really see how he excels there.
And he does. Let's go ahead and go to Battleground number 4, as we have Zealots getting a victory, and they have a chance here to start working on